Good good morning, guys. Welcome back to iPunt Smart. We're getting closer and closer to midday. Mid ratings already up, so you can go check out all the good stuff for the Met as well as Turffontein for Saturday. At the top here, Kenilworth and Turf. We got four greenies at Kenilworth, so four greenies on midday out of a 12 race program. Today, Greyville Poly 8 race track, Poly track, standard conditions. Quite a bit of a wind, 20.41 kilometers an hour. Um, the rainfall's been nothing in the last 24 hours, but a good 26 millimeters in the last 7 days. So there is a bit of sting taken out of the grass, I would imagine, or out of the poly. In the first, we have a value bet. Give me a rainbow as our top rated. Carl Ewertson's only for the day. Brewer takes the 4 kilos off the back, and that's really what makes him a little bit better because of that 4 kilos. Bit of a question mark on the 1400 meters, but in saying that, the 4 kilos off his back will help for the extra 200 as well. I think his biggest danger is Storybook, and What a Rider. Now, just quickly on that, if we look on the 8th of the 11th run on the 1200 Greyville grass, King in the Miller was the rider, and What a Rider was 2.6 behind the winner, carrying 59 kilos. On the same day, Wayne Agrella was the rider of Give Me a Rainbow, and he was 6.45 behind the winner, so 3.8 lengths difference. And he was at 9 to 1 as a start and drifted to 22, where What a Rider was 14 to 16. But with the 4 kilos change and only a 3.85 lengths difference between those two, I make it a little bit closer than what the odds suggest, 4.65 for What a Rider and 20 for Give Me a Rainbow. The other runner, Storybook, Doug Campbell's runner, if I look at Storybook, he is also a pretty decent runner. And the 29th of November, they ran each other at the 1400 Scottsville. Storybook was 12 lengths behind the winner in yielding conditions. And Give Me a Rainbow, which is at 20 to 1, was actually only 6 lengths behind. So 12.15 versus 6.45. So you can see where I'm going with that. And the additional 4 kilos off the back on Give Me a Rainbow does mean on those collateral form lines, I wouldn't be surprised if Give Me a Rainbow is in the mix at 20 to 1. The fourth is my decorated, Frank Robinson, Tristan Godden. Didn't get any support on debut, but he wasn't all that bad on debut, to be honest. If I'm comparing that run to Give Me a Rainbow's run, he was 0.6 lengths ahead of Give Me a Rainbow, and he is 1 kilo better off. Give Me a Rainbow is 5 better off, so 4 kilos difference on Give Me a Rainbow, and that's more or less why we see a 5.28 bat versus a 0.23 bat. Remembering the bats is not just so many lengths per kilogram, it's so many lengths per kilogram depending on the actual distance carried, because when you run with some cement on your back, the further you run, the more difficult it gets. So those four is my first four choices, 9, 8, 2 and 12. In the second race, here my first choice is the favorite, Global Appeal, but I do have quite a bit of respect for Never Ending Love and Badra. Never Ending Love, Tini Prinsloo, that gave us Love of London at Scottsville, a lovely top rated at 33 to 1 on the last race in Scottsville Sunday. Wouldn't mind if Never Ending Love at 7 to 1 does the same for us today. You can see his bat is 8 lengths better than Global Appeal, being a red bat. And then Badra is not far behind. If you look at the green bats, 8.65 on the favorite Global Appeal versus the 12 to 1 Badra at 10.63. There's 2 lengths, less than 2 lengths in it on that specific. So the collateral form, the 13th of December, 1600 Greyville, Global Appeal was 5.5 lengths behind the winner, carrying the same weight today, and Badra was 8 lengths behind the winner, but is carrying 2.5 kilos less today. So 5.5 to 8 is the 2.5, and he gets the 2.5 kilos off. He was also supported 14 into 10 on that day, which does make it a little bit more attractive. Straight on takes the ride, and his last run, the pacifiers was on, which was taken off again. So it seems the pacifiers didn't work. So we could have um, Badra at a bit closer to the rest of the field, considering he's at 12 to 1, 3, 10, and 5. In the third, my first choice is the favorite Policy Target, but I don't think it's such a cut and dry run. 0 rated on collateral form lines on the 27th of November 2000 Greyville, 0.3 carrying 60 kilos versus 1.8 carrying 60 kilos. That's only 1.5 lengths difference between 0 rate and Policy Target. So 6 to 10 for Policy Target is a little bit on the short side for me. Then Just Exit, Frank Robinson has a decent runner, considering he's got the best blue bats here. That's very high, 31 lengths, but still the best in the field. And then another one that I'd like to mention is, well, another two actually, is Golden Duck. Paul Laffert is only runner for the day, also taking the weight off the back now, only 54 kilos. He came very close on his last run, 0.95. He was also 3.1, 1.95. And he got supported 3 to 1 in the market last time, so he won't be out of it. And then Lua Lua Bay, Naidu and Godden, 14 to 1. This is an interesting runner, given that he's trying the distance the first time, but his 1600 Greyville form was a 7 bat, which is a really good bat. His bat curve is the best in the field. That's what that 0 suggests, being normalized to a 0, but you can see the averages here is much lower than the averages of even the favorite. 73587 looks quite low. And if you look at Policy Target, 32, 23, 29, 15, 14 with the 1-0, that 1-0 actually being on over the 1600. So not to say he can actually do the 1900 in that kind of figure, because he hasn't done when he tried it over the 18 and the 2000. So these 14s are probably more realistic when you get back to the 1900 meters. And looking at the rest of the field on the 1900 meters form, 0 rate with a 10 and 14 is better on that 1900 or 2000 kind of meters form. Just Exit 2021, Golden Duck 15, 17. So you see why Golden Duck is not out of it here as well. And then Lua Lua Bay, if you take another 300 meters and he can actually manage to keep to that 7, he's in this mix as well. So all of those 5, I believe, has a chance. 9, 5, 6, 7, 1. And I wouldn't be surprised if something like Nostradamus could also be improving over the 1900 meters. So I think that with being drier and Ville, he might have some sort of a chance to upset in that race as well. So that's not my banker race, sorry. In the fourth race, I'm going with Shastina here as my first choice. And with the 4 kilo Appy claim, he does have quite decent bat figures, but this Pieterse, I'm not 100% sure how good this Pieterse is. So, given that question mark, I do think that Reckless Love at 10 to 1 is a very, very decent exact course and distance blue bat. 7.28, which is 8 lengths better than Chastina's blue bat. And then Under the Mistletoe has a decent 3.85 on the 1800 grass on the last run. Not sure if he can do that on the Greyville Poly, since he's had a 30 and a 27 year. But given he's been improving on his adjusted time by quite a bit here as well, as you can see there's more green lately, he does get better. The 61.29 on the 1700 on Reckless Love versus 61.13 on the 1800 Greyville is very well comparable. And the number 7 Amber Hall, or Anmer Hall, is another one that made miraculous improvement on his last run from a 56 bat to a 9 when he won on the maiden on his debut on the Greyville Poly. If he likes the furthest 300 meters, he is most definitely also a runner So that would leave 12, 8, 6, and 7 as my first four choices in this race. And 11 and 2 is my backup for the pick 6. 11 and 2 being Fire Fairy. That's decent enough on his figures, on his speed rating, on his adjusted time, and his bat figures. And Mama Pajama, now getting blinkers fitted, is another one with Tristan Godden riding that has the consistency. 3-2-2-1-6. The Greyville Poly, he's been third, second, and first, so it does show he's very consistent on the Greyville Poly. He has also got a lot of support, 3.2 to 2.7, 3.3 to 3, 4.6 to 1.7, so he could very well also be much better again back on the Poly track in this Fillies and Mares 70. So a little bit of an open field to this race. 12, 8, 6, 7, 11, and 2. All of those going in the fifth race. And here, if Gentleman's Way can repeat his last run, 1400 Greyville Poly with Danielson riding, 2.36 on the bat is plenty better than anything else in this field. At 8 to 1, if he can repeat that, he is most definitely going to be in the mix. If you look at the competition, the two of us and Good Time Guy has a lovely 4.45, but that's on the grass. So I'm not sure if he can do the same. You can see the flashing adjusted times here on Gentleman's Way. And then a 15 is the best recent blue bat or caution distance bat. And that was when Warren Kennedy was riding. So Garth Wright, I'm not quite sure he's the same kind of jockey to get the same out of it. But in saying that, he is third rated on Two of Us. Good Time Guy, Two of Us is the dangers for Gentleman's Way, in my opinion. 7, 9, 1, and then the next best is 3 and 8. Purple Powerhouse and Burning Wings. Now, Purple Powerhouse is a runner that I've quite liked. He is quite consistent, 2, 3, 4, 1, 4, 1, 3, 2, 1, but he's trying the 1400 today, and he could be anything. He's got a decent jockey in Raymond Danielson. He is the favorite, but he does have to improve on his bats. If you look at these bats, when he went from 1,000 meters, where he had a 4 bat, he went to a 1,200 meter, he went to a 10 bat. So that's no good in today. If you look at the previously, he's 1200, 2346. Then he went to 1000, he went to a 902. So it looks like the 1200 was too much for him from a 1000, suggesting that the 1400 is going to be too much. And this one runner, this one record here on Gentleman's Way makes him my value bet at 8 to 1 for me today. Burning Wings is my fifth choice, but another one with question marks on the 1400 Greyville Poly. He did do pretty okay with second and third, but the bat figures again 16 and 13 is also needs some improvement. And that was when Marcus was riding. Now Godden not as brilliant as Marcus if he decides not to pull the horse. Race 6. And here's another value bet for me in the form of Marsan. I do think Marsan and Freedom Fire and Lady Legend, those three is a little bit better than the rest of the field. You maybe throw in Simply Russian with that as well. So for me, 12, 11, 4, and 1, the main contenders. 12, 11, 4, and 1. But if I look at Marsan, Duncan House's only runner for the day, versus Freedom Fire, definitely some improvement expected because he's only on his 5th run. And then Lady Legend, and then Simply Russian. You can see that 4.31 and that 4.84 is very decent. And then Freedom Fire 1.2 on the blue bat, and Marsan 4.79 on the blue bat. The question mark for me on getting that 1.2 is because he's taking a 4 kilos on the Appy claim off here, and that was in maiden company where Marsan has run in a Fillies and Mares 88, Fillies and Mares 86, Fillies and Mares 93, Fillies and Mares 77, very consistent, with Gumere being the jockey on 3 of those 4 occasions. So Gumere knows the horse. He is very capable, and dropping to a Fillies and Mares 79 from these 88 and 86s. You can understand why he's now carrying the 59 kilos, but in saying that, his bat figures does suggest that he will be competitive in this kind of a lineup, so I do quite like him. 12, 8, 12, 11, 4, and 1. Back up the 8 and the 6 in the bigger perms. Song of the Forest and Maiden Prayer. In the 7th race, yeah, for the PA purpose, I almost want to say that I'm only needing the the 2 horses, which is Kings Road and Lavu Lavu. The only runners from Binda and Goosen, very decent trainers, both of them taking 4 kilos and 2.5 kilos. Appy claims off. My first 2 choices, Bernie's Dream, my 3rd choice, and the favorite, Valiente, my 4th choice. Now, just quickly why, if I'm looking at these 4 against one another, the form suggests that Strydom has done well on Lavu Lavu. He's won twice in a row here on Lavu Lavu, and he's won on grass and on poly, and his figures here of 8 and 8 on the Greyville Poly suggests that that is pretty decent. King's Road has come to the poly before, and he came and bang, hit, and won. But his bat figure of 1578 does need to improve to get to this 8. But that does mean he is striking when he comes from the ball to Greyville Poly, and he does take the 4 kilos to get closer on that bat. Then you also have Bernie's Dream here. He is debuting on the Greyville Poly, but he does take Sean Veal as the rider, which suggests that the intent is there with this 50%. And he also has very decent 868 bat figures. If he's a little bit close to that on the Greyville Poly, he has a shout. And then Valiente, the 763, is definitely decent enough to be a competitor here on that 23rd of December's run to get that 763. So that's why all those 4 has similar chances to win this contest. It is the last leg of the jackpot, and I'm always worried about last leg of the jackpot. So 5, 6, 2, 3 for PA purposes, but 10, 7, 9, and 8 is also all in with decent chances. Leslie Shadowliner, because it's Hills first, and Hills got the top rated in the next, so intentions are clear there that he might be going for it. Impartial does show a 0.31 here, although that is on the grass. He is coming from a rest, and he did run 3rd on the Greyville Poly. Blue bat, 22 bats is not good enough, but that last run was a good improvement on him to the 1000 Scottsville Maiden. And if you can do that, coming back from a rest on the Poly, he's in with a shout. Sovar at the bottom here has had earlier 5.05s here. When Kennedy was riding, Danielson is a good rider, so Sovar is definitely in the mix, and Gavin Fonsel's got some nice runners as well. So I'm giving him a chance. Hampton Court, Dennis Bosch, purely because that also is Gentleman's Ways stablemate, or that chance is most definitely there. If Gentleman's Way can perform for Hampton Court, that ran 2nd on his last time. And Leslie Shadowliner has got absolutely 0 form, but comparing to the rest of the field. But in saying that, the reason why I'm throwing him in is he's in 4th on the 1000 Greyville Poly, which was his best run for a while. And on top of that, he does have Casadora the Greenie as his only other runner for the day. With all of these, the best bat, the best bomb, the best T-curve, intent, statistical, exact distance, medium speed, 19 Greenie points, overall ranking, all of these things brilliant. So his biggest danger for me will be Umzinduzi and Royal View, and it's clear from Umzinduzi and Royal View's runners that you can see the 14th of December, they were 3rd and 4th with bat figures of 4.43 and 6.84. Those are the closest you get to Casadora's 1200 Greyville last run when Danilo was riding as a 0 bat. 0 bat because he's adjusted time figure of 59.77 and winning by 4.4 lengths, carrying 60 kilos. is very good, considering Umzunduzi's was a 60.11 and a 59.35, and Royal View was a 60.03 and a 61.22. You can see the adjusted time figure is the best in the Poly with that 4 lengths extra. It does give him quite an advantage. He has only won his maiden, but he has won his maiden in really good style, considering he also came from a 12 draw on a Greyville Poly, where today he's on the 1 draw. So Casadora is a valid greenie with Umzunduzi and Royal View for me, the two biggest dangers, and Arctic Princess and Miss Texas, the Snaith stablemate, that could be potential surprises. Arctic Princess is the favorite, but he has won his last 2 runners. But it looks like the handicapper is getting closer to him, since he's got 11 and 7 on the bat figures on Casadora, the 0 on Umzunduzi, the 4 and the 1, and on Royal View, the 6 and the 6. You can understand why those 3 are ahead of Arctic Princess. I'm not saying Arctic cannot win. He certainly can win, but I'm worried that he already got drifting on his last attempt when he won. Seemed like it was a bit of a surprise when he won the last time. And Randolph does keep the ride, but his bats is not as good as the ones mentioned. And then Miss Texas, Moodley is taking the ride for Snaith. They've got a good relationship, as you can see on the flame, 1933. So he could be in the mix as well. Okay, guys, that's it from me. If you want to know what I like the most today, Casadora with maybe support from Umzunduzi and Royal View. Lavu Lavu, Kings Road, I think those 2 is pretty decent. Marsan and backup Freedom Fire is pretty decent. Gentleman's Way, if he can repeat on that 1 run, or Purple Powerhouse if he can miraculously now do the 1400. But the Badenhorst runners on both these 2 races has some place credentials. Then here, Shastina, Reckless Love, Under the Mistletoe, and Amber Hall, I think, is your main runners here. In the 3rd, it's not as easy as Policy Target only. It could even end up with Policy Target and 0 rated not running into the bipod. Imagine then, that's going to pay well. So I'm not taking chances there. And in the 2nd, I do think Global Appeal, Never Ending Love, and Badra is the first 3 runners there. And in the 1st, value for the day on Give Me a Rainbow. I hope he does give us a rainbow. With What a Rider Storybook and Decorated, my other choices in that race. But 20 to 1 is a lovely price for Give Me a Rainbow. That's it, guys. Until tomorrow.